Is faith an enemy of works? Are you laboring and suffering under a misunderstanding of the synergy of these two massive forces? Worry no more. This video is just what you need. Today, you end that faithless hustle that is keeping you stuck. In 1701, Thomas Young, a British scientist, conducted the famous slit experiment and demonstrated the wave-particle duality of light and matter. He discovered that when particles, like photons or electrons, are fired at a barrier with two slits, they create an interference pattern on the detector screen, behavior typical of waves. However, when observed, the particles behave like discrete particles, collapsing the wave pattern. This proved that quantum entities exist as probabilities until measured, fundamentally challenging classical physics. The experiment remains a cornerstone of quantum mechanics, illustrating that reality at the smallest scales depends on observation, leading to interpretations like the Copenhagen interpretation and the many worlds hypothesis. Essentially, he proved that nothing in life is committed to a manifestation until each person decides the how of that manifestation. Let this mind-blowing fact sink in for a few seconds. Over 2,000 years earlier, a certain king, writing in a biblical text, Proverbs 23 verse 7, made a timeless statement to foretell what Thomas Young had just proven in hard facts. Other thought leaders and avatars have said the same thing in different ways before the writer of Proverbs and after him. See Mark 11:24, Matthew 17:20, and Matthew 18:19 of the Christian Bible. I might add that similar verses exist in all other religions to emphasize a conscious and responsible use of our mind and faith, for, by divine law, proven now by science, matter moves in response to the commands of our minds and intensity of our faith. So how do we get this principle to work for us always? Can faith without works bring results? If faith is all that is needed, then why do we have to work? Why not just sit back and engage in thinking wishful or purposeful? As usual, let us begin to deconstruct these questions, then simplify them for your daily use. For centuries, people have fought over this. Should you trust God or hustle hard? Ancient mystery schools and modern billionaires agree. This is a false choice. I am here to tell you today that you must merge faith and work to unlock next-level success. Secret weapon number 1. Burst the myth. Faith makes you lazy. The Kabbalah teaches, pray as if it depends on God, act as if it depends on you. Even the pyramids weren't built by waiting on miracles. They used sacred geometry and backbreaking labor. Harvard research shows believers who combine prayer with planning outperform skeptics by 27% in goal achievement. True faith is work, and true work is an act of faith. Please write that down somewhere. For faith to be effective, it must be focused. It must define exactly that which is hoped for. Wishful thinking where your mind drifts and darts across various desires is not faith. I hate to burst your bubble, but this is the fact. A fact that is apparently not obvious to or considered by millions today. Very few people act in true faith. Most act in wishes, unarticulated and without conviction. From today, take the time to write your goals step by step. Visualize clearly how each completed step leads to the next, up until all the atoms are arranged in your mind to form a clear picture of the end goal. Once you do this, 80% of the work is done. The physical work of putting those atoms together, which is itself an act of faithful doing, is then a walk in the park. True faith fuels clear vision. Work builds the bridge, in accordance with the clear vision. Kindly re-watch this important point if it's not clear. Secret weapon number 2. Boost daily action with divine timing. The Tao Te Ching says, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. But farmers don't just trust harvests, they plant, water, and weed. Your breakthrough needs both inspired patience and relentless execution. Did you know that after dropping out of college, Jobs took a calligraphy class just because it interested him? He practiced daily, mastering fonts and design. A decade later, that useless skill shaped the Mac's revolutionary typography, making Apple a design powerhouse. The wisdom here is that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So says Seneca, the Stoic philosopher. How about Colonel Sanders and the 1009 rejection? At 65, Sanders drove across America, cooking his chicken recipe and pitching it to restaurants every single day. On his 1010th attempt, a Utah diner said yes, birthing KFC, which is now a $30 billion empire. Clearly, the universe loves stubborn faith. In Taoism, this concept is called Wu Wei, or effort without forcing. Let's not forget J.K. Rowling's Starbucks manuscripts. As a broke single mom, she wrote Harry Potter in cafes daily, even when publishers rejected her. Bloomsbury finally said yes, only because the CEO's 8-year-old daughter begged him for the sequel after reading Chapter 1. What's meant for you won't pass you by. Are there any ancient wisdoms behind this power combo? Yes, of course, and thank you for asking. The first is the law of seed and harvest. Galatians 6:9. You reap what you sow, but the harvest comes in its season, meaning that daily action plants seeds, divine timing decides the spring. The second is the Chinese bamboo principle. For 5 years, watered bamboo seeds show no visible growth, then they explode 90 feet in 6 weeks. Translation: your hidden daily work is building roots for a sudden breakthrough. Keep the faith. These people didn't just trust God, they acted like heaven had their back. That is the faith that brings results. It is childlike but not childish. It is methodical, painstaking, and detailed in its vision and visualization. From today, organize and treat your work like worship. The Benedictines turned labor into prayer, creating Europe's first corporations. Modern neuroscience proves rituals, like pre-work affirmations, spike dopamine and focus. Your 9 to 5 isn't secular, it's sacred skill building. In due season, it will yield a harvest beyond expectations if you keep the faith. As a practical takeaway, start your workday or meetings with 1 minute of silence or gratitude. Invoke this law from Matthew 18:20 and watch your group's stress drop and ideas flow throughout the day. Bring your faith to meet your work or hobby and be assured of a bountiful harvest in due course. Two sides of a coin. Faith without works is dead, but so is work without faith. It is true that James 2:26 says faith without works is dead, but grinding without purpose also burns you out. The mystery schools taught, as above, so below. Align your hustle with a higher why, and productivity becomes prophecy in motion. There is actually no conflict between faith and work, and I am here to set you free from that needless debate. It is a waste of energy, and the polarization suggested by controversy lovers is just a distraction. Unfortunately, many get sucked into this needless back-and-forth argument and waste valuable time they could have put to combining these two forces to their benefits. For you, it ends today after watching this video. Your vision needs hands. Your hands need vision. That is the sacred symphony that faith and work dance to. You cannot play any other tune for them. Don't even bother to swim against that divine current. Instead, learn to use it to your ultimate advantage. It was made by God with you in mind. Faith, by way of articulated vision, and works, by way of daily incremental efforts, no matter how little, are waiting for your command today. Drop a thumbs up in the comments if you're done with false choices. Smash like for ancient hacks that are useful in modern living, and subscribe for secret school forgot to teach you. The world needs your faith-fueled hustle. Until our next video, remain renewed on all levels.